What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Travis. This is TWA Motorsports, and today, yes, we did buy another car. Now, is that crazy? Yes, it is absolutely crazy, and it does bring the total to 13, and we are probably going to thin some out at some point, but I wanted to buy this thing. I've been looking for one, and I'm going to give you guys a second to go down and guess before I pop open the garage and we talk about what it is, and we may even go for a ride in it, talk about why I buy it and all that. But anyway, I've been posting a couple things on the community posts within YouTube about getting rid of something. So I was kind of surprised that you guys said that you would rather see me get rid of the white Tahoe out there than the red dually around back. I was really surprised. I honestly thought you guys would say get rid of the dually, and I don't know yet. I'm pretty sure the dually is the one I want to get rid of. If I get rid of anything now, the dually will not take, it will not make up for what I purchased, which you'll see in just a minute. But obviously you can tell that the poor Corvette, the poor white FRC, my favorite Corvette, has made its way outside because, well, you'll see in a minute why it's outside and why the new car is in the garage. But what do you guys think it is? So if you see me start sweating, by the way, guys, it started off at like 60 degrees. Now it's like 90 and crazy humidity. But let's pop the garage open and take a look. Just so you guys know, a few of you that may follow me on Instagram probably know what it is. So if you guys aren't following me on Instagram, the link is in the description down below. You might want to give me a follow, because sometimes I release stuff there before I release stuff on YouTube. Very rare, but sometimes it happens that way. All right, so obviously it's a Corvette, pretty obvious. Or did I put a cover on something else? I think you guys can tell that it's a Corvette from the outline. It's pretty obvious. But what kind of Corvette is it? I know that you guys saw the video when I was on vacation, and my wife's uncle has a ZR1 Corvette, and I talked about how I really missed having a Corvette. Even though I have one, I missed the C6 body style. It's just, to me, it's one of my favorite looking cars. So yes, it is a C6, but is it a Z06? Is it a base? Is it a ZR1? Which do you guys think I would buy? Let's take a look. Let's pull the cover off. And I think from the first little part here, yeah, pretty obvious that it is a ZR1, and it's black, which is kind of surprising, because I'm sure that if you guys had to guess based off of what's outside here, you would be like, oh, I'm sure you bought something white, because it seems like I've only been buying white cars lately. But let's uncover this thing. I'm going to pull it out. We'll talk a little bit more about it, where I got it, why I bought what I bought, and is there any plans to mod this thing. So let me get a key for it, get it uncovered. We'll start this thing up and pull it out. So we got it outside, and to be quite honest with you guys, the only time I've driven it, I've had it for about a week now, was the drive home. And so I was on vacation. I found a Jetstream blue one like I had before, and honestly, guys, it was for sale in Southern California. It had been for sale on Car Gurus for about 760 days. So they were kind of high on it, but prices on these have gone kind of crazy. They've actually went up a little bit. And on my drive out there, I literally 2 days before I went had submitted them an offer, was pretty sure I was going to buy a blue one. The day before I get there, it sells, which is crazy. 760 days for sale, and it sells. Anyway, put me on the hunt for another ZR1, and I always swore I wouldn't buy a black one. I always swore that I wouldn't have a black car, but this one is in incredible shape. So a little bit more on that story. We're out there, and that was the first day we got out there where I had found that one. Well, I found another one on eBay that was listed in Southern California, but the car was actually in Houston, so that didn't work. Well, then I went and looked at one that was, it was silver, and somebody had keyed it and he had repainted it a Viper steel gray, and I really like the color, But you guys know how I go through cars. So I buy stuff, I sell stuff, and I ultimately thought what would happen was if I went to sell it, somebody would balk at the fact that it wasn't the original color, and he did file it with his insurance company, so there was a mark on the title as far as like when you run a Carfax, and I just didn't want to go through all that, so I kind of passed. And it was really modified. I think it made like 800 and some. So I found this guy who really wasn't wanting to sell this car, but on Facebook Marketplace on the ZR1 group, he had it. He said he would sell it. Well, it was in Denver. Well, honestly, guys, I live in Missouri, so I thought on our drive back, maybe we can go through Denver and take a look at it. And so this is the one that I purchased. Now, I wanted a 2009 or 2010, and the main reason if I bought a black one is because of the color interior. This one's kind of a rare color interior. It's got the sienna inserts, so it's kind of like a orangish rust color on the dash, on the door panels here, on the center console, and I just really like the look of it. But this guy, man, he had some cool cars. He had some really nice stuff. He just bought a 69 Camaro, and he was going to get rid of this, or at least he thought, because he drove the Camaro more, which I totally understand. He's got kids, and to be honest with you, Corvettes just don't work really well with kids. Obviously, you can only take one at a time. But let me know what you guys think. Do you think that I made a good choice? This one, like I said, was in really good shape. It's got a few nicks in the splitter up front, which I think if I end up doing anything, I think as far as like modifications to this, other than retinting the windows, I may replace that front splitter. It doesn't look terrible, but to me, to be up to my standards, I think I would replace it. The other thing is, these things are really common for tossing up rocks, and it's got a few, if you catch it in certain sun, you can see a few marks there. But the thing has been ceramic coated, and I will tell you, I washed it when I got home. I taped it all up to keep it from getting chips, because I drove it home. It was like 12 hours back, and I taped up the whole front end and the side, and I'll put a picture right here. As you can see, I had it pretty taped off, but I had to stop all the time because with the ceramic coat, the tape didn't want to stick, so it was constantly blowing off, and I was having to retape it every time we stopped to get gas or anything like that. But I love it. You know, guys, I swore I'd never buy black because it's so hard to take care of, but no more than I drive it, and with it being ceramic coated, golly, it makes life so much easier. But let's hop in this thing and start it up, and maybe we'll take it down the road. Oh, I didn't even talk about miles. So it's a 2009. I didn't even talk about that. It's a 2009. It's got 17,000 miles. And it has 0 modifications. Not one thing done to this car. Everything in the interior is super clean. Absolutely amazing condition. So he didn't do anything to the car. And honestly, guys, when I buy modified cars, I like to fill out, you know, who the seller is. Did you do any of the mods? What do you know about it? And it seemed like the other guy with the Viper gray one, I mean, he knew the mods, but he didn't do them. And I really like to know what's going on as far as like who worked on it, what was done to it, what can you tell me about it. So when I'm not the one doing it, it makes me really nervous about buying something. Let's hop out and listen to the exhaust. Even though it's stock, it still sounds great. Woo, sounds good, looks good. All right, we're gonna run it down the road. I'm gonna hook you guys up on, we'll see if I can hook you up on the glass here, and we'll take it for a ride down the road. All right, took forever to get my camera mount hooked up, but I think we're going. Hopefully you guys aren't getting a ton of AC noise. But I figured we'd take it for a drive. I do know that I guess there's 2 things done to it. The windows are tinted. As you can see, they're just, I don't really like, it looks like they did kind of a crappy job, so I'll probably have it redone. And then he took it to car shows, and if you guys go to car shows, you know that you have to have, well, maybe you don't know, but they want you to have like a fire extinguisher or you lose points. So my guess is that's why it has that in it. Other than that, the exhaust I've noticed is open all the time, which is pretty common. These things open at 3,500 RPMs or 3,000. I think it's 3,500 at full throttle. And this one I thought was really loud on the drive home, and I'm assuming what happened is somebody pulled the fuse. So you can rev it up to that RPM, and when they open you can pull the fuse and just leave it and they'll stay open. So I'm pretty sure that's what's going on, but I may have to put the fuse back in it because it is kind of annoying. I wonder if he left the fuse in here. I'm guessing he probably did. It's got an iPod hookup. We'll have to check that out some other time. Anyway, let's go down the road so you guys can see what these things are all about. They're pretty nasty. Even in stock form, these cars are they're ridiculously quick and fun to drive. It needs gas really bad, so I'm gonna have to go get some gas probably before I do any ripping on it. Oh, I better put my seatbelt on. Somebody's gonna say something in the comments. Even though we're going to Mexico, no seatbelts required in Mexico. I also need to set, he's got it set where you get in, it goes to like his height on the seat, and he's really short, or was really short, so like crunches me up when I started. I did change those settings. I'm hoping you guys can hear the blower whine. I don't know that you'll be able to. Sometimes in these cars you can, sometimes you can't. Sometimes you got to be on the front of it. Like bad. We drove home really late when we bought it. We didn't pick it up until 10 in the morning, and it took me about an hour to an hour and a half to do that tape job. And I will say I taped it off in like an Ace Hardware parking lot, and you wouldn't believe the amount of people that come up and ask what I was doing. They had never seen that done before. It was just baffling to them why I would do such a thing. But I like to protect them when I'm driving them home, especially when they're this nice. The difference in this car and that white car are pretty astounding as far as like obviously power. But the transmission, the T6060 in these cars is so much smoother and less notchy in my opinion. I don't know, it just shifts like butter. The clutch is actually lighter. You know, the white car has a stock clutch. This is a stock clutch. Stock transmission. It's just amazing the difference between the two, driving them. Now, don't get me wrong, I love my white car. But if you had the daily one, I actually think the white car seats are a little more comfy. Seems like they're a little softer. As far as like, you know, people complain about these seats, like going around corners and stuff. Now, I can understand sliding on the seat because I've done that, but I don't think these seats are uncomfortable. I honestly think out of the three Corvettes, or the three generations of Corvettes that I've owned, the C7 Z06, it was like sitting on a piece of board. It was terrible. I thought those seats were terribly uncomfortable as far as comfort. To me, these seats, it seems like the seats have gotten harder as you go. The other thing is the room. Now I know measurement-wise, the C7 says that they measured more leg room, but the cockpit seems really confined. These are a little more open. One of the reasons I kept from buying a Viper originally was because the seats, it was so cramped and the clutch had such a high release, it was just annoying to drive. And face it guys, I'm a GM guy, so me buying a Viper would go against everything that this channel's about, I guess. Not to say that I'm never gonna buy another brand, but it just didn't make sense at the time. Of course, none of my purchases make sense. having this kind of power in a while. It's definitely different. Haven't had anything with power really since I sold my Z06. The fastest car at the house is my wife's. Well, not now, but it was. Wish I could swing this camera, but it's like on a still mount. There's a really nice second gen Camaro over here. Love that car. Maybe you guys can see it out the back window a little bit. So like I said, I wanted a stock one, so if I do mod it, which eventually I might, I wanted to, like I said, know where I was starting from. Know what I was getting into, not having to deal with somebody else's mistakes. I'm really picky, and I like to do stuff by the book. I probably go through torque specs 2 or 3 times when I'm working on the motor. I mean, this is an expensive motor to replace. You don't want some hack that doesn't know what they're doing working on it, or that doesn't care to scratch it or stuff like that. That's the other thing. It's like, I don't know, guys. I guess maybe I'm just too picky, but when you know that your work is good, it's hard to let somebody else touch it. Although that car, that Viper Steel Gray, was a beautiful car. They had done a good job. They took every panel off and repainted every panel. You couldn't even tell that it was a silver car before. Give it a little rip here. I'm on my way to the gas station. Hopefully I don't run out of gas here. This car, guys, it's stock Ford. This car makes you giggle and laugh, and it's just crazy how fast it seems. And you know, my blue car, with having all the stuff it done, or had done to it, it would have just left this car, but it's been so long. And then I went to that Z06, and while it felt fast, just manually shifting gears and this thing skating around. I've got the traction control on too, so it picked up, so it didn't get as nasty as it would have. We'll rip on it a little more here when I get some gas. Always run, I have a spot where I live where I can get 93 at one spot, one particular spot. Now, most of the places around here are 91 octane, but I do, when I'm driving something that I care about, and I even make my wife get 93 gas where I'm going. So if it can have 93 ran through it and they're open, that's what we use. The cool thing is, like, right beside the gas station is the Mexican highway. Crazy that in just a couple minutes of driving you can be in Mexico from Missouri. Oh man, maybe they're not open. Oh, they're open. I'll turn the traction control off when we get out on the Mexican highway here. Gas. Alright, we got gas. I wonder if my, okay, there my key is. Gotta move my seat back and my mirrors. I've got to get that figured. I gotta get that set. Can't see anything. Probably take like 2 seconds to set it. Alright, traction control off. I say that. I'm going to turn it all off. If you hold it down for 10 seconds, it'll turn everything off. That's what we want. That's where the most fun's happen. If you guys ever get a chance to get one of these, drive one, do it. By far, one of my favorite cars I've owned One of the most fun to drive. One of the scariest. I mean, literally, you get to a point where sometimes cars don't scare you, but this car, even in stock form on street tires, can really, really scare you. Alright, we about to Mexico here. Hopefully we can get a good highway opening. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, but I really, really like the two-tone interior. You know, my last one only had black, and all the other Jetstream blue ones that I found, it seemed like I found one with tan, which I didn't really care for, because it was a really ugly tan. It was inserts like this, but then it had like a lighter gray and a darker gray, which it was okay, but I think they only made like 50-some cars with this interior for this year, if I remember right. I don't know, it's pretty low, which they didn't make. It's not like they made a ton of these cars anyway. I think roughly 4,000 in the from 09 to 13, and to me it's the bargain of the century. You can get them with 40,000 miles for 50 grand, 52. I seen one for 49,000, which is just stupid cheap for what you get. To me, if you're gonna buy a C6 Z06 for 36 grand, 38 grand, why not put another 100 or 10,000 with it and buy the best? Hopefully I can get an open spot here. While we're driving looking for an open spot, let me know in the comments, out of all the vehicles I've owned, which one has been your favorite? Has it been the Corvette? Has it been the truck stuff? Trans Am? I know a lot of you guys came here for Trans Am stuff, and we'll get back into that, believe me. That's why the Trans Am hasn't sold. You notice, if you guys notice that there's certain cars that have stayed the course. The old truck, the 55 Chevy, which I don't show you much, the Trans Am, and then here recently the green truck. But most of my cars that I sell means I just don't love them. I find some reason to get rid of them. And let me know what you guys think is the favorite. Is this the new favorite? Spot. We're gonna have to find somewhere else to go here. Oh my gosh, it's so stupid fast. C6, I took it down this road in the video I did. So I will talk to you guys when we get back to the house. We'll walk around this thing one more time. I'll talk about what I paid for it, and we'll wrap this thing up. So we're back and safe, which is good. I figured I'd show you guys under the hood here. You can see that it is completely stock, and it looks like the clutch cylinder has been replaced. So I wonder if this thing had a master put in it, because generally they are clear. That's different. Anyway, completely stock, guys, down to the paper filter. Nothing done to this thing whatsoever. And man, I just love driving it. I'm telling you, buy one of these if you have an opportunity to buy one. They are that fun to drive. They are just an absolute blast. And like I said, not to take away anything from the white car, but oh my gosh, it's just so much fun to drive. What a good looking group. What a good looking group here. That is for sure. The white car's not going anywhere, guys. That is for sure. I do need to clean this thing up a little bit. You can see some tape residue, especially out here in the sun. I didn't even notice that. I cleaned it up when I got back. But let me know what you guys think. Do you think that I made the right decision? Oh, I was telling you what I paid for it. So all over, they range. So depending on miles and whatnot, this one's 17,000 miles. Now I did buy it with 16,000 and put like 800 or 600 on it on the way home. So I did put quite a few miles on it on the way home, but 58.5 is what I paid for this thing. And that's not a smoking deal, but it's not a bad deal either. To be quite honest with you, for the miles and the condition that this one's in, I think it's a pretty good deal. It's not, like I said, it's not a home run. Had I bought this thing for like 52,000 at that mileage, that would have been a home run deal. But I've seen them go higher with more miles, and to be quite honest with you, if you guys want to buy a modded one and you can find one that has a track record of a reputable shop, by all means, that is the best way to buy it for sure. But guys, if you like this video, if you like this new car, hit that thumbs up button. If you are not subscribed, guys, go down, hit that subscribe button. Make sure you ring that bell icon. Also, follow me on Instagram, because like I said, sometimes I launch stuff there before I launch stuff on YouTube. It's very rare, but sometimes it does happen. Anyway, stay tuned to see what we work on next.